So, thank you, Alina. Thank you for being here, Alina.
My
Alina
pleasure.
Frank,
My pleasure.
my mentor, my inspiration for EFT. And I have the privilege of talking to you about EFT, relationship, and bringing you to Brazil.
Yeah, that's exciting.
That's
really
wonderful.
exciting.
So, Alina, tell me a little bit about you and you with EFT and relationship.
So I learned EFT maybe about a little over 10 years ago. And I was looking for a way to resolve some of my health issues. And I came across this very strange looking thing. But at that point, I had been working for 12 years at trying to find some way to resolve this issue. Western traditional medicine had failed me. They said that I had an incurable condition and that I would just have to take a pill for the rest of my life. And I'm very stubborn, and I'm Latin, I'm very stubborn, no, you can't tell me no. And so I went and I explored and I looked for 12 years, and then I stumbled across this thing that I really didn't even believe at first was going to help me. What do you mean that this thing is going to help me with something that I haven't gotten results with anything else with? And so that was how I initially started with EFT. And then what seems to happen is you go down the path of your life and you resolve one big problem, right? You're going down the path and there's this one big boulder that's in your way and you have to tackle it and get it out of the way before you go further. And then you're going to find another one, maybe not so big, and another one and another one and another one. So I'm walking down, I thought, okay, I've got my health issues behind me. I start doing EFT as a business. I really enjoy it. I'm getting results from my friends and family. I start doing it professionally. And then, you know, the universe sends you signs. And the sign that I kept getting was I had to work with one client after another on relationship problems. I mean, I couldn't even get away from it. It would just like, the next person, and the next person, and the next person came to see me all about relationships until I was like, okay, I hear you.
Were you in a relationship?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I was in a marriage that was not working and hadn't worked for a very long time. And I was so disconnected from what was really going on. I just plunged myself into being a good mother and to doing my work in the world. But my relationship was something that I felt stuck and trapped and I didn't even want to look at. And then the universe kept saying, well, you have to, because you keep saying you want to grow, you want to expand, you want to do more, you want to be more. How can you live out there telling all these people and sharing this with other people with relationship problems, and you're not going to look at your own? And so I finally said, fine. I hear you. And then it was an amazing transformation for me to get to the point where I decided that it was time for me to end the relationship. And I was able to do that. And I met my ideal partner, who I've been married to now for 4 years. I met him in a month. In a month of making that very clear decision, this isn't working for me, and I asked my ex-husband for a divorce, I met Craig in a month. And that's how fast it can happen.
And I love the story, Alina. If you don't mind sharing the story, how you met him and how it happened.
Yes.
I love the story.
So I was setting the intention of what it was that I really wanted in my next relationship. And I was clearing out some of the baggage that I had and the self-talk and the negative beliefs that I had about meeting this person and ending my relationship. So I wrote an affirmation statement in EFT. It's something called the ultimate truth statement. And so I created this paragraph, and I would tap on it, and I would say it, and I would think it, and I would feel it, and I would listen to the things that would come up. Now, one of the things that came up for me was, how is anybody going to want me when I have two preteens. They were just they were just going into teenagehood, and they were being, you know what that's like.
I do.
And so we love our kids, but I thought I had this negative belief that said, well, who's going to want you with that kind of baggage? Right. And so I got rid of that belief, and I heard in my mind a new, very, very empowering belief, which was, this man actually loves children. He's never had children of his own, but he's always had this real deep connection with kids. And because of one reason or another, his life circumstances have not allowed him to have children of his own. So I have this empowering belief that I'm walking around with. Shortly after, I get a call from someone, and mind you, I hear from women all the time. Well, I live in a small town. Well, I don't, there aren't any good men that are left. I have to tell you, I live in a town with 786 people.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so it's tiny. And I thought I knew everybody in that town. I thought I knew everybody in the healing arts because that was my profession.
Yes.
And so I get this call from someone I had never heard of who said, I want you to do a demo on EFT at my office, local chiropractor. And I said, fine, that would be great. I do the presentation at his office. And a few days later, he signs up to come to my course. And then a few days after that, I'm at a festival that happens every year at the end of the summer. That's a children's festival. And my kids are there, and they're hanging out with friends, and I'm there with some friends. And all of a sudden, someone comes behind me and runs up behind me and hugs me. And I turn around, and it is this man. And I thought, oh, this is really interesting. Hi, how are you? And he has this big goofy hat on. And I said that, you look very cute. And he said, come by my booth. I have a booth here. I went over to his booth when I was finished with my friends, and I sat there amazed because whether it was a young child who was barely walking, to a child that was in a wheelchair, to a teenager, this man was really connecting with any child that would come to his booth. He had a little treasure box full of little trinkets, and he knew exactly what to say and what kind of toy or little trinket he would give to each child. And that's a real art. And so I said to him, wow, Dr. Craig, you really have this thing. That's amazing, the connection that you have with kids. And verbatim, those words came out of his mouth. Well, I always love children. I feel a real deep connection with kids, but I've never had the opportunity to have my own because of different circumstances in my life. And all I did was sit there shaking. I just shake. I was like,
you heard yourself.
I had to excuse myself because I was,
Yes.
oh, wow, is this really it? And then a few months later, it was very apparent that we had this connection. And it was there. And he truly is my soulmate. And it can happen that quickly. Once you resolve issues, once you get clarity about what it is that you want.
And I have something now coming to my mind. If you were not ready, if you were not tapping and doing the work you were doing before, do you think you would have been able to recognize him the way you did?
No, not at all. Not at all. I would not have seen it. I wouldn't have. That's you. Absolutely, you've got to be ready. You've got to prepare.
I love that. and because that is true, right? Some people think that it's out there, but it's inside. That's you being ready inside of you.
Yes, wanting it and knowing that you deserve it, and being very clear that you're not going to settle. I mean, all of those things come into play when you're thinking about the relationship that you want.
Alina, we repeat patterns, right? It's like humans, like some women looking for men, they always find the same style of men.
Right.
Or they say, it's the wrong time, it's the wrong man, a lot of wrong things. Why do you think? Would you like share some of your...
Yes. So one of the reasons why someone would pick a partner that it's less than ideal is because subconsciously they're working out some deeper pains that they have. many times I will hear someone say, I married my father, or I married my mother. And that is simply because there's so much pain from that first relationship, that first love relationship, that it's carrying over, wanting to be resolved. And and unfortunately, what ends up happening is just more pain, unless you're aware that that's happening. So some of the ways that it shows up is that you find someone that's less than desirable for you. Sometimes that speaks to your self-love, your ability to love yourself enough to know that you deserve to be treated better. You deserve to be the queen in someone's eyes. And if you don't love yourself, then that's not going to be the reflection that you see in another person. Another thing is that when you pick someone that is repeating one of these patterns, it doesn't necessarily mean that you married your mother, or it could just be the way that they interacted with you early on is what's showing up in your relationship. So I'll give you an example. I had a client who over and over and over again, people left her. And she had this belief, people always abandon me. People always abandon me. And it was her son had left for college, and she went through major angst and pain and agony. Her first husband left her. But this was to the extreme, to the point where if a coworker had a job promotion and ended up in another department, she would go through depression. So we knew that this was long. I mean, this is a history of all of this stuff happening. We traced it back to the fact that she was born to a teenage mother, and her teenage mother left her to be raised by her parents. So her grandparents raised her. And then the mother, because she was a teenager and growing up, would spend time with her at her grandparents and connect and bond. And then she'd find a new boyfriend, or she'd get a new job, or she'd want to go study in a different city. And so she was always being left by her mom. And that's what showed up. And what was the tipping point for my client, the reason why she called me, was she was terrified that her new boyfriend was going to leave her. She thought for sure he's going to leave me. And so we broke that pattern, dealing with the stuff that was in her past. And not only did he not leave, but shortly after we stopped working together, she sent me a picture of a bouquet of flowers, and I thought, oh, that's so lovely, but I didn't understand. And she said, no, zoom in to the picture. And I zoomed in, and there was an engagement ring.
Wow.
So he completely broke that pattern.
He stayed with her.
He stayed with her. So it is really all about working on yourself. And then those things will be reflected as they get more positive in you. You'll have a reflection of that in your potential partner.
And you use EFT mostly helping. So how does EFT help us to connect with ourselves and work on our issues of the past?
Yes. Well, it's this thing about denying what's happened and what you're really feeling. So if you're a student of law of attraction, if you're a student of positive thinking, one of the faults, it's not that that's not wrong. It's that we also need to pay attention to what's happening internally for us and how we're feeling and what we're thinking about. So when a thought pops up, like, I'm not attractive enough to have the man that I want, then instead of trying to overpower it with, yes, I am, I'm beautiful, with EFT, we actually say, no, don't deny it. Bring it to the surface and then get rid of it by tapping. And tapping, it uses the same system as acupuncture, the meridians, and we have some points that are very close to the surface of the skin, so that instead of having to insert a needle there, we can actually tap. And the talking that we do with EFT is basically to bring up the feeling and then to dissolve it by tapping on it. And there's more to it, but I think that's the basic explanation. And we know that those things that are living in us now, all of our fundamental beliefs, really start from age 0 till about 6. Most of them are set. So we want to explore those. Where did they come from? And let's get rid of the pain from there, so that it doesn't follow us into our relationship now or the relationship that we want. Because I'm listening to myself and everything that I've said here, and I want to say that it's not necessarily about breaking up with someone that you're not happy with. Sometimes when you change yourself, your partner shows up in a very different way, and then it's the relationship of your dreams. That does happen too.
Yes. And it seems like we don't even need to do much, right? Because it just happens.
Right.
That's how you said your story with Craig.
Yes.
I don't think you were like searching for him.
That's right. That's right. So I have clients that I work with that said, oh my God, my husband doesn't do that annoying thing anymore. Because I worked on how I felt about it.
It seems like everybody changes. Like, oh, he's different.
Exactly, exactly.
Wonderful.
When you feel differently about yourself, when you feel empowered and taking control of your emotions and thinking, what is it that I'm really feeling? And getting rid of those, your vibration changes, and those people around you tend to change.
So to change the pattern with others, I need to look into myself.
Absolutely.
And change that first.
It's so much easier to say, you're the reason why I'm feeling this pain. It's very easy to do that. Most of us do, until we're like, well, that happens with this one, and it happens with that one, and it happens this time, and it happened with my first boss, and it happened with so what's the common denominator? Me. I'm the one that's in common with all of that, is me.
That's right. I like that.
Right.
Anything more than EFT that you work with and you would be happy bringing to our chatting now? And what else can we do to help ourselves to have a better relationship?
Yes. I think really getting clear, even if it's just writing down what it is that you want to see.
Okay.
Because some people are afraid, or they say, I can't ask for what I want, I won't get it. Those sorts. If you don't set the intention, be clear about what it is that you're asking for, it just won't come. Or you'll get hit or miss. That guy that's almost perfect, almost the guy. So get really, really clear about what it is that you want.
I like that. Because sometimes we can be clear about what we don't want, and then we repeat, right?
Right.
So write down what we want to manifest.
Right, absolutely. Write down what it is that you want. And if you have some fears around asking for what you want, then you need to go back to the times where you asked for something and didn't get it. Many times when you look back and you didn't get something, it's because it put you on a different path, on your soul or spiritual journey. We're all we all experience challenges, and many of those challenges are really there for us to grow and expand. But our ego self says, no. We want to feel joy and happiness and money and relationship and all this great stuff without any pain. We want guarantees that it's going to happen before we actually set our intention. And it's really not that way. Things happen, and when you are able to resolve the pain behind it, then you can see all of the gifts. Because every person that comes to us is really just a gift, putting us on a path in our life's direction.
Were we all born to be loved, Alina?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we spend our whole lives doing, is trying to find love, find that acceptance, find that joy and peace. And what better way to find that love first by yourself internally? And then it doesn't even matter who shows up or not.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's wonderful. What else do you think you would share with the Brazilian people that I'm bringing this video, and anything else that you would like to share?
I would say don't lose patience. Sometimes it's a matter of persistence. Sometimes we feel that things aren't happening quickly enough. And really, I say that on average, it takes between a few months, like happened with me, to about 2.5 years when you're really clear. And if you knew that, like right now, you're sitting in your living room feeling alone, and you're feeling that things are off, and that why aren't these things happening? if you go out and live your life completely happy, being the way that you are, loving yourself and continuing to work on that, and if you knew you only had a few years before this ideal relationship showed up in your life, then you would just know, my friend Julie says, you would be taking all the naps in the world, you would spend all the time with your friends that you could, you would be traveling, because you know that adding a second person brings more demands on your time. Great demands on your time, for sure. Fun demands. But the things that you want right now to do alone, go do those. Live your life to the fullest right now. And know that it's coming. And get rid of anything that says, fear, anxiety, or uncomfortable feelings that it's not happening quickly enough.
I love that. I love that. And be persistent, right?
Yes. One more thing I wanted to share.
Yes.
If you do a meditation and you imagine that you come home at the end of the day, you walk into your space and there's someone there, and you don't necessarily picture what they'll look like, but their energy, and that there are flowers there, and there's a wonderful smell coming, and they're doing all these things, and you look in your environment and know that you are loved.
Okay.
And you really take that in.
Yes.
And then at the end, you want to explore all the reasons why you're not doing that for yourself. Again, it's you matching that vibration on your own, and then it shows up out here. So that's
I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
So it gets you in the feeling of, wow, that would be amazing to have all of that.
Yes.
All of that connection, feeling all that love, knowing that I am supported, that I am valued, that I'm honored, all that, and give it to yourself. Really give it to yourself.
I love that. Before expecting from someone else.
Yes.
Is that the secret?
That's the secret. Yeah, that's the secret.
That's wonderful, Alina. That's wonderful. I really appreciate who you are. I'm so lucky to talk to you, to know you. And I always knew that. And
same here. You're doing amazing work in the world. It's wonderful to see.
Thank you, Alina.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be connected.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Gostou desse vídeo? Clique aqui no botão inscrever-se e não perca o próximo. E aproveite para clicar no link abaixo e conhecer o Pronta para o Romance.